Is that something I'm just not aware of in the universe? Why is everything so crooked here? Sorta. That's janky. Hang on, let me fix this. Yo, sup, Miles? Okay, so here's the plan today. First, I need to know if you can hear the sound. That's the first test. And we want to know if the sound is good or if the sound is bad. First, we're doing, because look, I'm a professional. I have a microphone. So I need to know if it's actually working or not. And then we can move on. Hey, you can hear, good. Is it good? Can you hear well? Was it worth me investing in this equipment? Right. Hey, I've got a new trick. Okay, the instructions are terrible, but you gently cup the ball. Oof. Here's a variation. Ooh, didn't get it. While my palms are dry, hey, so today, what's going on? Today, I'm testing out my microphone. I'm at home for lunch. It's a busy day at the YoYoFactory. This time of year, shipping has already tripled. And this weekend is the Arizona State Yo-Yo Contest, which we are volunteer hosting. And it's usually all good, but today is the deadline for the sponsors and the backdrops to be printed. And there's people who've reached out who haven't sent logos. There's people who want to change their logos, and it's all that kind of action. So, yeah. This color is new. The new colors, which you can see this weekend, is the silver, the gold's back, and then there's the purple. If you're coming to the Arizona State Yo-Yo Contest, which some of you luckily will be doing, you'll get to see our new promotional tie-in with balls. We 3D printed some stands the first time we went around. And we've got a new display option. Hey, there we go. Just couldn't hit it. Nice. Oh, and look, my string tension, it's almost as good as new. Thanks to DNA string. It's the future. Yo, and your logo looks spectacular, Tim. Speaking of Tim, winner of the other confusion is none other than my good friend Batman, who was the only person who entered. Why am I doing giveaways when I'm just giving things to Batman? I could just give them to Batman. He'd be real happy with that. Just riffing. Sup, Miles? So today we're doing today, part of today's activities is a coin toss. The purpose of today's coin toss is to see what country I go to first on my trip around the world. So should we get that out of the way? Because I'm kind of looking forward to it. So, toss of the coin. Maybe somebody should call? No, I'll call. Heads is France. Tails is Canada. And this is how it's done. This is how a decision gets made. You want to see? It's heads. Heads, so heads was France. France is going to be the first destination of my trip around the world. So I'm departing November 31st, which is in like, I don't know, what's it, 11 days or something? So in 11 days time, I'm going to depart from Phoenix, Arizona. My destination will be Paris, France. And from there, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. But we got this far. So far, it was a fan vote to go east or west, and we went east. Coin toss to be Paris or France or Canada, and it's come up as France. What happens next? I don't know. Today's question that I'm going to pose and that I'm going to ask for feedback on is how many countries should I visit in a trip around the world? If I get there on the 21st, I have a good week of roaming. So, I mean, should I try to hit as much as possible? Like, should I be like trying a country a day? Should I be focusing more on some places? This is the direction I'm looking for. I think in a week, like 5 countries should totally be possible. And especially if I'm just highlighting one bit of yo-yo history or heritage or story. I don't think that I should be spending too many multiple days. I don't think there's too many multiple things. It's just a logistical problem then of lining stuff up. And how do I line stuff up when I don't have too much control over what's happening next? So knowing that it will start at France is a good step because now I can go buy a ticket. I think I also have to do all this under a budget because I don't really get to cut the blank check for this journey around the world. So there'll be some budgetary considerations and I'll have to stay within my budget. But knowing that, there's also some really, really, really inexpensive flights in Europe and from Europe to places that are well trafficked. I know a lot of flights go through Turkey, so that could be a good spot for me to travel through. But we'll see. I got some really good suggestions off people on where to visit, and I got some crazy recommendations from ChatGPT. I think that the one thing that I really wish that I could have included that I'm ruling out because of the current travel situation. I think that any yo-yo pilgrimage around the world should have a stop in Orlando to visit Lucky and the world's largest yo-yo collection. The fact that I'm not doing that is a little bit sacrilegious. However, maybe that's another day. I'll head to Florida, but not this trip and not with the current way that flying across America is looking. I think that some of the other places you typically go to, I might not visit this trip. Like I would say that normally I would say that Solution in Prague is a must visit, but considering how much attention was on Prague and Czech Republic for the World Yo-Yo Contest, I could give that a miss. I missed Czech Nationals over the weekend and it looked awesome. I was jealous every minute of it. And if you haven't seen the videos from Czech Nationals, top 3, Katarzyna in 3rd, Mikhail Malik and Jakub with another winning routine. They were all like world-class, amazing freestyles. And I encourage you to go check them out because it's some of the best competitive play you'll see all season. So I'm going to book my first ticket tonight. I found some really good rates to get to France, $234 from Phoenix to France. So I'm looking at, that'll be my first leg. If I was going to go to Canada, doesn't matter now because I'm not, I would have probably tried to go to Toronto because I know there's more of a yo-yo scene in Toronto than a lot of other places. But it was cool because during this process, I did reach out to the Calgary throwers because Calgary really appealed to me, and I could have booked like a layover on the way to France through there, so I would have spent like 24 hours in Calgary. But there was one problem. Calgary is to the west of Phoenix, so it wouldn't have fulfilled my objectives to go around the world to the east. Let's look what's going on. Oh, Hagia Sophia. I've been there with Gentry. We did a stopover once. Yeah, Turkey. We were just talking about you. Have I been to France? Yes. I've been to France so many times. I know Eiffel Tower variants. So we've got the typical Eiffel Tower. We have the one-hander. One-handed Eiffel Tower. Oh yeah, look at that. Everybody has their own funky tower combos. Oh, that was a tower. Bad one at that. Let's try that again. From Mount Tower. Hang on, what did I do wrong? I did know this. You know how you learn tricks, but you can't remember them unless you do the whole process? Here we go. Hey, there we go. There's a tower. My favorite tower, however, is the Rock the Baby on the Eiffel Tower, which is that one there. Although with balls, you could probably give that another name. So if I'm going to France, will there be some Eiffel Tower tricks? Yes, probably. You want to tour Ben's house? No, you can see Muffin. Muffin is sleeping. Muffin's having naps. People usually do 5 countries in a week to get experience in tourist traps. I'm not looking to go that deep. I'm looking to highlight like an element of the yo-yo culture. So I really want some yo-yo culture, or developing yo-yo culture, or to develop a yo-yo culture, because that's my whole purpose for the trip is yo-yo. So I'm not looking to go too deep. I'm not looking for, to be honest, I'd be happy to go to Ethiopia for coffee. That'd be really cool, but that wouldn't really fulfill any of my yo-yo obligations or expectations of the trip. Florida State's in December. Yeah, I'm not going to Orlando. There's also the fact that it's a National Yoga League contest, so you won't see me there. Cheeky grin. Okay, so how many? Starting in France, there's a little bit of a bias to this all now, because it's all going to flow into a direction. So you get to skip the whole east coast of the US, so now that basically rules out South America as well. So once you get to France, you could go north. You go as far north as, I don't know how far north you can get, but I'm sure you can get, like, probably from Paris, one flight, you're in the Arctic Circle. You can head south. There's a lot of North African destinations. Somebody mentioned Morocco the other day. There's players in Morocco. Algeria is on the out list because you need a visa. Tunis, although I don't know of any yo-yo players in Tunisia or Tunisia. But yeah, like France has players, Spain has players, Germany, Nordic countries, and then work your way across Europe. And then after Europe, I mean, how many stops do you want to spend in Europe before you get out of there and you hit the Middle East? The Middle East is captivating to me because there are yo-yo players there and they don't get a lot of attention. And for a lot of them, it's difficult to go anywhere because of visas and the like. So the Middle East definitely appeals to me in that regard. And then if I could find some players in the stands, that'd be cool. If you know of anybody, that would certainly be something I'm interested in. But then after that, India, China, I guess Southeast Asia could be on the way, but I think that would be a decision. You would have to prioritize Southeast Asia over Europe. So I think I'd rather focus more on Southeast Asia around AP time. AP is like early March next year, and I'm certainly planning on going to AP. So that might be a whole separate adventure to AP. Missed it. So how many years have I been playing yo-yo? All of them. I don't. Green's from Brazil. Now I want to go to Brazil. Spain wouldn't be the wrong direction. Like France, can't you go straight down? You can go straight down and get yourself maybe like Barcelona would be on that side. I love the idea of ticking new boxes. So like Luxembourg, that appeals. Andorra, now we're talking. But again, I need to find yo-yo stories, excuses. Batman came up with a really good one. He'll watch this later, and he'll be like, yeah, I did. He had a real good selection, and I think it's one that I really want to include. So there's that. All right, I think I've played enough yo-yo for a bit. So Switzerland, sell me Switzerland. Little Willie Styles, sell me on Switzerland. Massachusetts or Switzerland? I'm open to being sold on anywhere else along the way. H-pin knives and cheese, yeah. Small clocks. They go cuckoo, cuckoo. Cows, Swiss chocolate, cheese with holes in it. I was talking to Chris from H-pin just this week. If you haven't met Chris, he's one of the nicest people in the world. He wrapped up H-pin as a brand a long time ago, but he just can't not be involved. So H-pin's still around in some capacity. Sponsor of the World Yo-Yo Contest. It was great to see him there also. So it's not really a two-way metal yo-yo. This yo-yo is called Confusion. This one is the Turbo Confusion. You can get a couple of loops out of it, don't get me wrong with that, but it doesn't flip as reliably as like a real looping yo-yo. In saying that, I've just got this on a little bit of a zone. Okay, it kind of loops. So in the early 2000s, there was the concept of what the best yo-yo in the world was a little bit different to today. And I would say that people were designing, the idea of the best yo-yo in the world was one that you could do all the tricks on. So all the tricks would be like string tricks, of which the hardest tricks in the world were like split the atom, the roller coaster, Dennis McBride roller coaster. No, it didn't do that at the end. What did it do? Can't even remember. But these were like the hardest tricks in the world, okay? And then you'd want to grab that yo-yo and you'd want to loop the loop and reach for the moon. This was the mark of a good yo-yo. And this was a yo-yo that you'd be happy to walk on stage and compete with. Then came the concept of like bearing yo-yos that spun for a long time. And the first bearing yo-yos did not fulfill these needs. They didn't loop, they didn't respond as well, they were unreliable in that regard, and also you couldn't slide them on the string. So for your string tricks, your tricks would be left wanting. So there was a strange boom in yo-yo innovation around this time, and yo-yos also boomed in the world. And during that time this was invented, and this is called, it was called a brake pad. And the purpose of this was to allow looping and smooth string play to occur. At this stage, all yo-yos were still responsive. So you're looking for a yo-yo that came back. There was no binds. First time I saw a bind performed in competition was like 1990, I want to say 9. And that was a deliberate bind where somebody went to make their yo-yo come back. Ironically, it was in a compulsory division, which is weird enough. And something happened shortly after that. And as yo-yos got wider, they traded that ability to be a wide yo-yo and rule out looping, which meant that specialized yo-yos became a thing. You still needed it to respond because there was no other answer, but something else had come into the universe, and that was yo-yo specialized for special things. And one of the earliest ones was like the Henry's Viper, which was a wide yo-yo. That yo-yo was never designed to do loops, although I'm pretty sure there's a video, Henry's video out there with like Jumper and Eric like trying to do loops on a Viper, but we'll forgive them for that. And then when off-string came into play, that's when binds became popular there. And that was like Hironori Me, 1999. He was playing off-string at the World Yo-Yo Contest. I think he'd been at US Nationals in 98, showing off his off-string prowess. So off-string was becoming a thing. And around the same time, people were experimenting with binds in 1A. So then, this responsive technology kind of stopped being developed. And I guess this is probably the pinnacle of where it got to, which is why I'm kind of cool with it in my yo-yos today. And when, now when people put like half-spec bearings and things, you don't get that pure responsive performance. Like there's a gap around the bearing, and you have to rely more on the oil to be the response than the pad. So this is kind of the most pure response system in that regard for playing like responsive. And now, I mean, there's a modern responsive movement of like, forced binds and string flips, and I'm gonna smack myself in the head. And I got to admit, I haven't kept up with that. So I don't know, it's all out there. I'm sure if you're into that, this yo-yo would be pleasurable for that type of play. But it's a lot of fun. Okay, can I do a horizontal under the leg seasick? Nope. Colorway for Confusion Turbo. I know there's red, I know there's black. Yeah, the funny thing with the Vipers is they were pretty expensive in the US. In Japan, the Hyper Vipers were like $80 at the time, which was like the most expensive yo-yo you've ever heard of. $1998, which would price them like well over 100 US if you, I don't know, but you convert the devaluation of the yen, I know it's probably about the same. But to any trick that required two, you had to know somebody to be that guy who had two Vipers. Hydrogen bomb. Hydrogen bomb was, so Split the Atom existed as a trick, and then Hydrogen bomb was on the Dennis McBride string trick videos, but I personally learned the trick from Bill Du Bois in Sydney, Australia in 1996. And it's like a backward split mount, pass under once, grab the double string, land on the left string, take your pointer finger out, pull over, catch up. That was the Hydrogen bomb. Oh yeah. good with retro tricks. I go through phases of yo-yo play, and I try not to keep too many yo-yos in my house because, like, at work it's filthy mess, and there's very few yo-yos that I keep at my house. So I've got all the balls are here. You've seen that, and you've seen I've got this. I'll go get every other yo-yo in my house because they're all in one spot. Okay, this is what I have in my house. I have a 9 Dragons, which has no string on it. I have a up down, because I really dig this yo-yo. That's a prototype, so we won't go deep on that. So 3 other yo-yos in my house. So this is the up down orange. We don't make this yo-yo, but I play this yo-yo because I'm down with this yo-yo. It forces you to slow yourself down, and the way you play. Consider your movements a little more. Hey, look, he's doing the. Oh, that was a hydrogen bomb out, I guess. Love it. Which brand is the Up Down? The Up Down's the brand. So when you compare it to like the yo-yo I was just playing with, it's quite a different creature. Like you can almost put it inside there and you can't even see it. Is it as wide as balls? No way. Balls is still wider than it. 100 millimeters wide, balls. Go figure. The Prague Worlds are not coming back. So it's done. What's done is done. Nine Dragons, ooh yeah. So for those that don't know, Nine Dragons gets ripped. It's a loud yo-yo, but I'm gonna do a sound comparison test on this yo-yo with a bunch of other yo-yos, just so. Dude, I don't even know how to hook from this position. No. Oh, like this. There's a bind here. If I can just get it to no. So the thing, DNA with the Nine Dragon, you don't want the top to be spinning very fast. That's the hardest part is when the plastic shell's spinning quickly, it will force a rejection and stop it'll prevent the rejection, which is what you need to hit the DNA. So if that top shell is spinning really quick, it makes it harder. So I think that's why A&D works better, because when it's pointing down, it doesn't drag as much. I could do this all day long. Whoop. If you pinch, like if you squeeze it too hard, you'll scrub. So when I snap start, I pinch it a little bit harder, and it's a lot easier to wind up that way. Yeah. So all the off-axis stuff spins longer, just because it can, there's no friction. And that's why I keep a Nine Dragons around. Nine Dragons is also my son's favorite yo-yo, and that's what, yeah. So A and D would be downwards, and it's just that you have to hold the top. Hey look, I'm doing the A and D, kids. Look, it's a YoTrix A and D. It's like, yay. Oh, that's quiet now. Yeah, okay, so there we go. You got my 30 minutes out of me today. Yay, I'm gonna go have some lunch. I gotta get back to the office because, as I said, it's super busy in there today. Also, Arizona State's this weekend and still prepping that. We ordered the banner today and start working on some of the smaller details because, yeah, Sunday is the day for that. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to be on tomorrow. I'm hoping to go back to that 3 p.m. slot. I said I was going to do 3 p.m. today and it didn't work out day-wise. So 3 p.m. tomorrow, and I'll use my microphone. Yay. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Maybe.